Okay, this is the giant WP large bag. I had to add this rope to this bag because just the clip alone was not holding like all my gear, which is inner tube, 2 chains, keys, and a multi-tool in it. And these bungees came a lot looser over time, and only have this like at 57 miles. Whenever I was traveling down the road and stuff like that, I'd always have my bag open, and that way it would not be pulling a lot of strain on this, and plus I'd have everything out of my bag as well because I didn't really trust this going down the road a whole lot. And this Velcro here has gotten really weak over the time. And let me try getting a light on in here. Okay, this is what the inside of it is. This Velcro has gotten weak over time, and this is where my multi-tool would sit at, is in here, and then Velcroed up to the top. And that would kind of stay up, and then most of the time I'd have this down. Whenever my bag did come open, I have this folded like once, like this, and then I had it bungeed, and it popped open. And what I've learned is don't fold it down, fold it up like this, cover up the giant, so that way it pulls it more up instead of down, and then all your gear comes out of it. I have about 57 miles on this bag, and so far it hasn't got any water in there, especially when I wash my bike and stuff. It's been completely dry, and I always made sure that it was really closed up, and I sprayed it down just with a garden hose. I didn't power wash it or anything like that, just because I don't have a power washer. So with this bag, if you are going to get it and carry a whole bunch of gear, this quick clip, and I'm just not a big fan of it. So if you're going to have this giant bag on here, you're going to have to do some type of bungee system if you're going to carry a whole bunch of gear on you. I mean, yes, it'll hold a set of car keys possibly by itself, but I still would not trust it just because they're car keys and it is going to bounce around a lot inside there. And that's about it. Like sometimes I'll undo like one of these bungees here, and then I'll bungee this over here and then slap that back like that, kind of as a locking protection, just because I really don't trust these things because they're not very elastic anymore. They're not very strong. So I kind of wish they would actually done like a rope system where it'd rope around the whole entire thing, and then you can like actually have like a quick disconnect up here, undo it, and then come back here, you know, something like that instead of these little bungees. For $45, I'm kind of disappointed in these bungees along with this Velcro because it is not that sticky anymore, and I only have 57 miles with this bag. So I mean, it is what it is. Thanks. I was out on the bike trail today, and luckily I did not dump all my gear out of my rear bag made by Giant. It's the WP large bag. Luckily my chain was rubbing on my tire, and then I grabbed all my stuff out of it, and luckily the only thing missing out of that bag was one of these. So I'm missing just one. So if you see this on the gold loop on the backside at Thunderbird, it's mine, but I don't care. Someone will have one out here. I'm going to put this by this jump, so that way someone's got a spare link out here just in case you're on the far back side. I'll tag it and say here's an extra one link. Luckily my keys are still in my bag. What happened was it came unzipped. Actually there's not a zipper, it's Velcro, and my chain was dangling on my rear tire, and I thought I picked up a chain, but luckily I stopped in the nick of time, and these pliers were out of the bag like this on the top side, and this inner tube, I went with a smaller inner tube that has the slime inside of it, and it was sticking out the back. Luckily my pocket knife was up in the front, and luckily my spare chain and all that stuff was still in the front with my keys. I'm gonna make a little long-term review saying I'm not really happy with this giant bag. There's a couple of flaws. The bungees on it are not really longevity lasting. What they should have done was put in some quick clips, and then you could actually string it tight on the sides, and they should have put a zipper instead of that Velcro in there, because that Velcro, about 7 miles to 8 miles of with all this stuff in there bouncing around and all that, it's gonna come unvelcroed. I just got lucky and I did not lose all my gear. Luckily the tire caught my chain and made it rubbing noise instead of grabbing it out of my bag along with all my stuff and my car keys. And then I get up on top of the hill and I'm like, where's all my stuff at? So luckily the chain was rubbing on my tire and I stopped in the nick of time. Because I was pedaling, I'm like, it's not my chain that fell off because my chain's still on my chain ring and everything. Maybe I picked up one and threw it in the sprocket. So luckily I had this spare chain not in the box. I probably wouldn't have noticed it falling out of the box. So luckily I had this one for a friend that needed one time. So luckily that happened. I'll get this video posted up on YouTube and I'll tell you how many miles I put on this bike with the upgrades that I did to keep everything going. So right now it's a no-go.